Put a smile on your face when you're moving from place to place. Good morning, good morning, morning, good morning, morning.
Good morning, viewers, and welcome to Tobago Updates Morning Show. I am your host, Renessa Ortiz, and it is Friday. It is the end of the week. It is Friday, 17th of April, 2026. I want to thank you for joining us here this morning. In studio, I am joined this morning by Alex Brown. Good morning, Alex.
Good morning, Renessa. Good morning, viewers. We've made it till Friday.
We've made it to Friday. It's an opportunity to get that chance to rest and relax for the upcoming week. And we have to remind the viewers and the public to stay safe over the weekend.
That applies only to those of us whose weeks end. You know, there are some people whose weeks start on Friday.
Ooh.
So for those of you whose weeks start on Friday, we will pray for you.
But before we get any further into the programming this morning, we head on over to News in 90 Seconds. Your News in 90 Seconds starts now for Friday, April 17th, 2026. The Tobago Divisional Task Force struck early Tuesday in Mason Hall as part of a crackdown on illegal firearms and narcotics at a premises on Belmont Farm Road between 3 a.m. and 4 a.m. under state of emergency powers. A significant sum of cash was seized and one man was arrested. He remains in custody assisting investigators into the origin of the funds. Leave your wallets at home if you're taking the bus today. In celebration of World Transportation Day, the PTSC, in collaboration with the Division of Public Infrastructure, has announced that all bus rides across Tobago are free today only. Regular schedules remain in effect and passengers are urged to be at their designated stops on time to enjoy this island-wide initiative connecting all communities. The body of 7-year-old Angelica Sadie Jogi has left Tobago for Trinidad. Following last week's fatal incident, THA officials collaborated with Caribbean Airlines to ensure the child's return was handled with the utmost dignity. The Jogi family is receiving compassionate support as they prepare for final rites. And finally, the THA leadership has decamped to Chaguaramas, Trinidad, for an intensive planning retreat. This marks the first such strategic session since early 2022. And that was your News in 90 Seconds. Tune in again at 6:30 p.m. for a full newscast. Alex, we're seeing today is World Transportation Day, free bus rides. Are you planning to take any free bus ride anyway?
Go out and enjoy free bus rides. I think the whole team should go and just cover bus rides across Tobago, see how people respond to it.
Producer is laughing in the back. We want to go to Charlottesville.
That doesn't sound good, and the producer laughs at us. Doesn't seem we're going to let that fly.
For the longest while, I've been trying to plan a bus ride to Charlottesville with a friend of mine, and I cannot seem to get it on the way, but I'm thinking that maybe this was the sign, but I missed it.
No, forgive me for thinking that Charlottesville is only the best part of the island. What would take you so long?
I think you are biased because you grew up there.
Obviously, but all the same. What is taking you so long? I mean...
Alright, so viewers, we're heading on into this celebratory segment of our morning. We're on to the birthday shout-outs. So first up on our list, we have Sean George. Good morning and happy birthday to you. Wishing you a bright and safe day ahead and wishing you all the best going forward in your new year.
Next on the birthday list, Christian Sebro. Happy birthday to you, Christian. We're hoping that you're having a wonderful day already. Probably you can make it a day that you get a free bus ride, but whatever you do today, make sure you have fun, make sure it's safe, and make sure that you do all that you can to make it a good day. Have a good day. We trust that your year is going to be one of bright future prospects and God's richest blessings.
Up next, we have Natasha Kwashi. Happy birthday to you. I hope today you take the time to reflect upon the goodness of your life up until this point, and that going forward in the new year, you set those goals and you do what you need to ensure that you achieve them. By the time you make the next circle around the sun, wishing you all God's richest blessings upon your new year.
And finally, in this morning's list, Laurel Isaac Brown. We hope that your birthday is going to be as bright as that yellow you're wearing. We hope it's full of sunshine, full of fun things, full of fun times with the ones you love. I don't think there's only one love in anybody's life. There's family, there's friends, and we hope that it begins a year of the richness of God's blessings. Happy birthday, Laurel.
And that has brought us to the end of our birthday shoutouts for this morning. For those of you who did not make it on our birthday lineup, we want to say happy birthday to you. I want to wish you a bright day ahead, a safe day ahead, and ensure that you send all your information to us here at Tobago Update so that we can celebrate with you. Now, viewers, before we go any further into the programming this morning, I want to ask you to continue staying tuned to us here. I want to thank those of you viewing us on YouTube, Facebook, AMPLIA, Flow, and Digicel for making Tobago Update your #1 station on a morning. Thank you so much for staying tuned. Remember to share the live, share the live, share the live. We'll be right back.
Are you in a dispute with a registered investment service provider of the TTSEC? Or maybe you're the victim of an investment scam? You can lodge a complaint or submit an anonymous tip to the Trinidad and Tobago Securities and Exchange Commission. Download our Investor Protection app or go to ttsec.org.tt to access our complaint form or submit an anonymous tip. Write a clear summary of your complaint. Submit copies of supporting documents along with the originals for verification. Provide a copy of the feedback received from the entity regarding your complaint. All investor complaints or scam reports submitted by the public are acknowledged and reviewed by the TTSEC. Investigations are pursued based on the outcome of the review. Trinidad and Tobago Securities and Exchange Commission, protecting the interests of investors and the public. You invest, we protect. Everyone benefits.
Hi everyone, I'm Marissa Benin. Coming up, Jamaica, here we come. These women of vision are on a mission. Ride the waves and savor the flavor, otherwise known as spending quality time in Antigua and Barbuda. Fun times, plus the food that sets St. Kitts and Nevis apart, all available under one roof. Cue the entertainment and the food. It's Chinese Spring Festival time. It's all next on this station.
Baby, when you whine on me. Somebody get the phone, go on the telephone. I get wet. I get wet. I get wet. I'm looking all through the party. I hope I find you there.
Trinidad is my home, and I always say charity begins at home. So I'm just delighted to bring this team of dedicated volunteers. Part of our motto is that we just don't send relief. We hand deliver it with care and compassion. And as I would always tell my team, the best way to find oneself is to lose oneself in the service of others.
Be viewing Caribbean Medical TV on this station.
Nice.
If I have to call a supervisor one more time to sign off on a customer because their financials are in a mess, I will scream.
Don't scream in a bank. That have lock up in it.
It's either they're not registered properly, or you know what? We could just forget about annual returns, right?
Compliance is a bad word to most of them. Haul your compliance out of here. But let me eat.
What is wrong with Trinbagonians? I mean, it has so much help they could get out there.
Well, you know, trainees, we don't like to spend we money.
But you know what? We comfortable with losing we money. That make it any financial
What people should do is call Anderson in Trinidad and Tobago.
Wait, what? Anderson in Trinidad and Tobago?
Anderson in Trinidad and Tobago Tax and Accounting Services. Yeah, they offer helping from registering your business to filing your tax. My lunch is over.
Wait, tell me more.
No, go and scream in the bank. You go and scream in the bank.
No, I don't get one sooner.
Our world is filled with rhythm. Rhythm that's unapologetic, infectious, timeless. Rhythm is commitment in action. It's how we show up for each other with unrelenting support that goes the distance. Rhythm lives in the tiny beats of our most intimate moments and the seismic roars of our biggest achievements. Rhythm is resilience in motion. So even when things go out of sync, we do what it takes to bring the rhythm back. At Flow, we understand your rhythm because we live it. That's why we're dedicated to building a network as resilient as you, with a team of familiar faces working every day to keep you on beat. You're at the heart of everything we do, and our commitment is to keep your rhythm flowing, no matter what.
Put a smile on your face when you're moving from place to place. Good morning, good morning, morning, good morning, morning.
Viewers, welcome back. This morning we have a bit of a twist. We're going to be diving into conversations, a little bit of banter between Alex and I this morning. So before we get right into that, Alex, first up, we're just recapping the week. And I know this week we had a conversation about traveling on the spectrum. And seeing as today is World Transportation Day, and in Tobago we're having free rides across Tobago. I think this is the perfect opportunity for individuals who have caregivers, who have charges, who are on the spectrum, to probably utilize this time to really start understanding and observing their charges in these spaces.
It also allows you an opportunity to test how others would respond, to see, you know, it kind of puts a barometer on the society. So not only do you check your own ability to deal with some of it, how the charge deals with it, but you also get to see how the society, the wider society, deals with some of the exposure. Because at some point, if people are testing it today, you get to see somebody may be triggered by something, and we get the opportunity to see how people respond, probably how a bus driver handles it, how passengers handled it. You know, we can probably test that. But we're encouraging people to go out there and take a bus ride.
And it's interesting that you mentioned how the bus drivers would react to it. I know in our interview with Ms. Paria earlier this week, she spoke about the sensitivity training that the officers at the Port Authority has when it comes to identifying an individual who's on the spectrum. And then that would also give us an idea of the sensitivity training that we need to have within the transportation sectors as well. Because let's say, for example, there's a school bus that stops and there's a child who has probably been undiagnosed for some time and they're probably in the high school system. He would be able to pinpoint or identify and maybe even bring it up to the attention of the school. And this is the sensitivity that we need when it comes to issues within our society. And that also helps us to have a holistic view and have an idea of how to treat with because different.
They're not going to go away. I think that's one of the challenges we've had over the years. We've kind of been shying away from dealing with these matters openly. And the more we do that, the more difficult it becomes for the society to treat with it, because this is not an individual or an individual family thing. They're here, they're in the society. And I'm certain whether we realize it or not, many of us have interacted with someone who at some level has been affected by autism.
Because at the end of the day, they have a right to operate in this space, to operate in our nations as well. Because they are part of our community. They make us what we are here in Trinidad and Tobago as well. Because as also in the interview, patience is one of the traits that is built when you have to deal with these individuals.
Yes, it is. There's something else that crossed my mind in terms of an autistic. Let's look at an autistic child who has been triggered by something on the bus. If a bus driver is not exposed to what this might be, can be a very jarring experience, because now he has to think, we have this person acting up, where is my concentration? Do I stop the bus to get it under control?
Are there protocols in place?
What do I do? Because now you have to ask yourself as a driver, how far is this going to go? Is it going to affect the safety of passengers? Is it going to affect the safety of my being able to operate this? So, you know, it's really a wide area of discussion that we could probably start in terms of how we treat with society and those people on the spectrum. It's an interesting.
We spoke about triggers and also the routines that need to be put in place and the action plan that needs to be thought about before you even go on these trips. So reminding our parents and our caregivers, if today you do decide to take your autistic charges out on a bus ride, ensure that you plan ahead, ensure that you have your protocols in place so that when this trip starts, you are able to deal with your charges in the way that is appropriate, as well as you'd also have the patience necessary to go forward today.
Yeah, that's important. I mean, even if you didn't initially plan it and you do have the time, try a bit of it today. You have the opportunity, you have the means. Certainly the transportation is free. Let's try it and let's see how we can all work together to make life just a bit more comfortable and inclusive for our citizens on the spectrum.
And we're shifting gears a bit. There's also the Honey Fest that is coming up on May 23rd.
I'm paying attention to the things you're smiling at you.
No, I thought it was a very interesting concept, because you would hear about vendors going to workshops and little conferences, and they would have the things in between, but to incorporate family fun, incorporate a regional agricultural business as well to be a part of this, and also including that sustainability aspect. We've been talking about sustainability for the past few years, and we really asked the question, how are we incorporating sustainability? We hear the word, we wonder if sometimes it's just a tag phrase to capture the attention of individuals. But how are we actually implementing sustainability in the sectors that we want to implement them into? So I think the Honey Fest would be a really good and interesting
an interesting approach to sustainability, because oftentimes when we think sustainability, we only think about waste management and that kind of thing. But in terms of actual food production, natural environment, that kind of thing, I think the Honey Fest was really an interesting way to capture all of this, because we're not only talking beekeeping, we're talking honey and honey products, and then how all of this factors into, you know, your whole sustainability cycle. Quite an interesting approach. I like the non-traditional approaches that stuff like this brings across.
Usually when I hear sustainability as well, I don't just think about the waste. I also think about how we implement practices into our businesses and how we can utilize these practices to go even further than just Trinidad and Tobago, but also in terms of sustaining the product that we are making and having practices that also help to probably even reduce some of the output in terms of the waste and how we can utilize the waste in a way to generate a next product. And when it comes to beekeeping and harvesting honey and these things.
How much waste is there in actual beekeeping and honey production?
Well, I don't know. Maybe that's why we need to go to the honey first, right?
I agree.
And then when it comes to the health benefits of honey, and also when we have our consumers understanding the process that it takes to ensure that you cultivate and you harvest the honey.
I think one of the things too is that not just the cultivation and harvesting, because one of the challenges our society has is that we are by and large a consumer society, and one of the things that this festival is seeking to do is to attract more people into the actual beekeeping, so you have more people getting involved in production. Now you know they're not talking to me, right? I'm not really.
Yeah, because you don't like bees.
No. It's not that I dislike bees. I'm not prepared to rear bees.
Okay.
So Alex will not be a beekeeper. But if we can have more people getting into the productive or the production of honey, then even if we exceed our own capacity for consumption on the island, that may be a good thing, because now we can start talking export, and that too aids in the sustainability of the entire industry. So it really brings a holistic kind of approach, and I rather like it.
What is interesting to me though, and something I just thought about, if it's there's a possibility to start introducing the concept of bee rearing into the secondary school systems. I know we have the agricultural aspect that has always been there, and you would teach children about the soils, the planting. I know in Signal Hill Secondary they had a subject for that. You would go out.
Yeah, I worked on the agriculture plot, you know. I did agriculture.
I would pass and look at it. That was not my thing. However, when we introduce these concepts from that age, we also expose our young people to these different industries and the ways that they can venture into and probably even innovative.
Not necessarily have to depend on the traditional forms of employment.
And then if it is we want to be sustainable in society in terms of our economy, if we don't introduce it then, when do we plan to introduce it?
That's going to be a thing. There's something else while you were saying that occurred to me, is that it would help us to look at our health sector and health sector management. Because why am I forgetting his name now? Our guest was telling us that he's not a beekeeper, he's allergic to bees. Now, this is something that's important for us to know. What is your status as an individual? I don't even know if I'm allergic to bees. I've never been stung by a bee.
That's true.
I do not know. But if you want to get into that, then I suspect somewhere there can be some testing done to know whether this is a condition you have and whether you should get involved. And while it may seem a negative side of it, it actually can be viewed as positive in that people can know what their personal conditions are, and it helps to create a more informed health sector, so that this whole honey festival has so much attached to it that if we take the time to look into it, we see how it benefits an entire country.
And I think another way for intriguing our young people in terms of the honey industry and the bee industry, you know, Angostura has that museum. A lot of secondary schools go and they look at the process from start to finish, and you get to taste the LLB at the end of the top. You know, you get to see the butterflies.
That's all that children are allowed to taste.
The LLB at the end of the top. If we have a bee hub in terms of what's the process? How do the beekeepers get dressed to go and deal with the bees? What are some of the things you have to do? The temperatures you store them at? When you harvest the honey, what do you do with it? Do you have some sort of screening process that you do to filter out the honey? How do you remove it from the combs? And then how do you transfer it into products? And I think that would be a bit more impactful rather than just speaking to our young people.
As well as for those who are interested in agro-processing, because the beauty and skincare products and that kind of thing, the soaps, the creams, the what have you. So there's really a plethora of options in terms of what beekeeping and honey production can offer a society. I think the Honey Fest really does open our eyes and our minds to how much is involved in what seems to be a tiny sector in our society.
And we can also tie that into food security, bees and food security. We're having the conversation quite often these past few months, past few years about Tobago becoming a food basket again. Tobago becoming a food basket again. And both of these things are interchangeable. So if we don't have the bees, we don't have the pollinators to do what is necessary
so it's not only honey we lose if we don't have bees.
Correct. We lose our food security. So we also need to really stress on the importance of having our bees and treating them in the way that we need to in terms of understanding their pivotal role in our food security systems. And as you mentioned, the agro-processing sector, if we continue to introduce and really impart on our young people the importance of the agro-processing, we want Tobago to be a food basket again. It needs to start from the education system.
I'm not sure about the food basket thing, but I keep thinking that if we can reduce the quantity of food we import. Now there's a joke that I usually make, although it's a very serious issue. If we import more than 50%, and we do, of what we consume, somebody somewhere just has to say, we don't have enough to sell to you for the next 3 months, and then we starve. So food security is not necessarily about being able to export food anywhere. It's about being able to keep yourself fed. And that kind of ties into where we had the discussion with the 21-day challenge yesterday, be garden fed instead of grocery fed. And bees contribute a lot to us being garden fed, because they, with the pollination that they do when they move about collecting nectar, they also transfer seeds and what have you. So there's a whole what do you call that? The word
ecosystem.
Yeah, there's the whole ecosystem that kind of circle around the presence of bees that we often take for granted. And this Honey Festival is opening our eyes.
But just on the cusp of that as well, we spoke about being garden fed. Back in the day, Tobagonians, they would, even if they didn't have a garden where they were selling to others, they were focused on subsistence farming. So they had their own backyard gardens where they were able to feed their own families. I'm seeing over time that has decreased drastically.
For several reasons.
I grew up on that. My grandfather would go and dig garden.
You didn't go with your grandfather to
No. I would just reap the benefit of eating.
Knowing that your grandfather had a garden?
I grew up knowing that. So we had the kale, we had pineapple, we had the cashew tree, we had dasheen, we had cassava, you name it.
I grew up going to the garden with both my father and my grandfather. My earliest recollection of going to the garden with my father was I was so young I couldn't even help. He used to cut a little branch and that was for me to fan the mosquitoes away. But I think he was letting me know life is not as easy as you think. Now, I'm saying that my father was a teacher by profession, but you had to go to the garden. My grandfather too was a builder by profession. They understood the value of doing it. I think I could have been a taller person, but the amount of banana and thing I tote on my head, I feel that stunted someone. But the point though is the fact that we've moved away significantly from being garden fed, and we've seen with that a significant increase in non-communicable diseases on the island and significant negative impacts on our society. And so we need to return, if only to the backyard gardening, and reduce again your only being a consumer to some level being a producer. So you reduce the amount that you purchase and you supplement your own budget by growing some of the food you eat.
And it's a form of recreation as well.
For those who find it so. But
some individuals would realize they have a green thumb.
I remember talking with an electrician. He was a professional electrician, and he would come away from working during the day, drop his staff off wherever, and then go and say, "Lord," I said, "But I thought you're tired." He said, "Nah, tired, but the garden is therapy." So for him, it wasn't necessarily only about producing food, but the therapeutic value of being in the garden.
But would you replace sugar with honey?
It's tough, it's healthier, but it's also not the most economical decision to make. So probably I need to just retrain my taste buds to appreciate sweet a bit less.
Okay, because that is also a topic of conversation when you think about healthier food choices.
Yeah.
Honey is healthier, and you say, well, maybe use a dash of honey in your tea instead of the sugar.
A dash. How big is a dash? I need to check. A drop.
A drop.
Okay.
A drop of honey into your tea, as opposed to the sugar crystals, the sugar cubes, to really kind of be more health conscious. And as you said, because we have moved away from that subsistence farming, we are seeing an increase in non-communicable diseases. A lot of young people are now with diseases that you would hear about persons in their 70s, 80s. They have it as early.
Diabetes and high blood pressure and stuff was for the older folk. Now you're having juvenile diabetes, and you're having people hypertension and so on in the teens and 20s.
Now, Alex, you have worked in TEMA for quite some time. We're shifting into the hurricane season conversation. What are some of the things in your experience and your time working at TEMA, some of the things that individuals take for granted when the hurricane season is approaching?
Interestingly, in spite of our experience in Tobago, a large sector of the population still holds the philosophy that God is a national. So we take for granted in large part, and I'm hoping that that has changed since I've not been at TEMA, that God is one and we, not nega happen. So in large part, a number of people don't take seriously. For example, we were hearing from TEMA that, okay, we on the edge of the Atlantic hurricane season, start getting your emergency kits together, start rehearsing your family emergency plan, and some people don't bother with them thing that never happen until something happens. And I think that in large part is the greatest challenge that our society faces, or failure to plan in the event of a natural hazard impact. So when you fail to plan, or when you're of the opinion that nothing never happen, then there's no family emergency plan, there's no emergency kit, there's no evacuation plan, there's nothing. And then when something happens, people find themselves scrambling to try. And in the moment of impact, there's no recovery. There's just trying to survive the impact without a plan. I think that is the single most challenging part of, at least in my time. Because sometimes you would have seen some things that you realize, you could have prevented this from happening. For example, in large part, there's a significant part of our population living on hillsides, and you still have many homes with no guttering and no control of the roof runoff, and that can lend itself in heavy rains to destabilizing of the slope you live on.
But then we also have, what I've observed over the years, we have a very reactive response to a lot of things here. That is our culture. And culture is a good thing, and it can also be a bad thing, because we hold to some of these notions and we don't realize how detrimental it is for us. Because when we hear the hurricane season is approaching, as you said, we think God is a Trini and it wouldn't hit us. And then when we realize, okay, 3 days from now, 2 days from now, we have an alert from the weather forecaster.
That will pass, man.
It will pass. And when you realize it's not passing, and everyone is running to the supermarkets to buy toilet paper, to buy tins of
beef and sardine and bricks and...
It can be very ridiculous to see, because this is something that happens every year. And you tend to wonder if individuals aren't learning from the past, if they are not really taking things into consideration, if they are just being reactive, they're not being proactive. And it really sends a signal of where we are at when it comes to preparedness, especially for our emergency services. Because then what happens is you put a next set of unnecessary strain on them. If you did your due diligence, as you said, there are things that can be prevented.
I think we have to understand that whether or not we prepare, what will happen. And we have to understand that even with the best of preparation, and this is something that sometimes we miss, the people we expect to respond can be impacted. I remember once during some very severe weather event, we at work at Tima. Well, I'll give you two stories. The first was we're at work and the director's wife calls and says to him, it's so, well, they were living in an area that was fairly close to the sea. So they're getting the brunt of the winds. And they started to lose some of their roofing sheets, and she's telling her husband, well, look, some of them raising up and starting. And he said to her, I can't come down, you know, you had to tie down out of the rope. I mean, he was a little bit facetious with the rope part, but it tells you that even those people who you are expecting to respond if something happens to you, live in the same space you live and can be impacted. Now, if they're impacted, what would be their priority?
Their homes. Their homes and their families.
There's another time we had an event and we were out there at work, and lightning, this is something little known. There was a loss of power. There was a generator that was powering the building, and lightning struck the generator. And so now we're there without power. In fact, the generator started to malfunction to the point where we had voltage surges, and we started experiencing damage to equipment and stuff. And we are there in those conditions trying to keep it together. People are calling and asking for help, not knowing we really could use some help ourselves here right now. So the people that you are looking to, the TEMA and the fire service and the T&Tech, and I'm calling those because those are some of the first ones you expect to see, but they too can be impacted. And if they are impacted, the realistic expectation is not that they put you first on the list. The right-minded person is not going to just abandon their family to come take care of yours. And so you have to appreciate that you have to do all you can do for the well-being of yourself and your family, because that's just your responsibility. And think or understand that the possibility exists that the people you are expecting to come help you may just be in need of help themselves.
That's such an interesting perspective, something to ponder on. Because I surely did not think of that. I know that there are circumstances where sometimes things definitely do not go in the way that you plan and prepare for. But when you put it into that perspective, I think the viewers as well also get to have an idea and their personal responsibility as well on the matter. Now, viewers, we're going straight into the next segment. We're going to have Marcus and we're talking sport up next. Remember, today is World Transportation Day. Get out on the road, stop at the bus stop and take a free ride to Charlottesville, Pigeon Point, maybe Black Rock or Corland, and ensure you be safe on the roads today. Be careful, and the weekend up ahead, also be safe. Ensure to have it's your personal responsibility as a citizen to do what you need to do to ensure that you don't impact others as well as also for yourself. Have a great day and stay tuned. We'll be right back. Remember to share the life, share the life, share the life.
Trinidad, Tobago and abroad, your chance to drive away in a brand new SUV is still on. The BHS Centennial Raffle has been extended to Thursday, 30th April 2026. And that's not all. Prizes include travel for two to Miami and Curacao, Tobago staycation, iPhones, computers, smart TVs and more. Tickets still only $100. Get yours at selected outlets or at islandetickets.com. Details at bishopstobago100.com/raffle.
This is how it's gonna go. They better look up below, 'cause this is your show, and everybody's gonna know. Say it to them once again. They better look up below. This is your show, and everybody's gonna know. That's how it's gonna go. They better look up below, 'cause this is your show.
The Caribbean is more than just a place. It's a spirit, resilient, vibrant, and full of possibility. Rooted in connection, driven by community. It's who we are and the heart of everything we do. For over 150 years, we've been right here, invested in the Caribbean, its people, and its progress. And today, we're going even further. Liberty Business, rooted in the Caribbean, committed to you.
Welcome to Tobago Glass Supplies Limited, where innovation meets excellence and service reigns supreme. Our commitment is simple: to provide high-quality, innovative aluminum, vinyl, and glass solutions for both commercial and residential spaces. At TGSL, we don't just meet needs, we exceed expectations. Our range includes the finest aluminum cladding options, setting new standards in durability and style. Driven by our passion to elevate, we aim to be the leading supplier in the Caribbean market while retaining our identity as a family-owned business. Because at Tobago Glass Supplies Limited, it's not just about products. It's about relationships, it's about you. Innovation, quality, service. That's Tobago Glass Supplies Limited.
Put a smile on your face when you're moving from place to place. Good morning, good morning.
Get ready for it. Tobago Motorsport Association presents the Ultimate 660 Series happening right here, 9 a.m. Canopy, April 19th. It's the first ever event like this. History in the making right here in Tobago. The first 1/8 street legal drag race. Get your teams, link your crews. We outside. April 19th right here at Canopy, 9 a.m. Yes, boy.
Viewers, welcome back, and thank you so much for staying tuned to Tobago Updates Television. We are on the best segment on a Friday, the sporting segment. So let me say good morning again to Tobago, and I want to thank Renessa and Alex for, of course, holding on the first half hour. Up next, we have two very important interviews, some exciting things happening in Trinidad and Tobago sporting-wise. First up, we're going to talk to the guys out of the Tobago Motorsport Association, and then we're going to chat with Kyla Keith out of the Netball Association. We have some big things happening along there in Trinidad. Caribbean Netball Championship. But we're going to talk to the motorsport guys up first, the guys who love this adrenaline pumping kind of stuff, right? And I have in studio with me one of the members, Randall Thomas, and online we have Dexter Sandy. Yes, we're going to talk about what's happening this weekend. Ultimate 660 Street. We're bringing what do they call it? What, you want to bring Fast and Furious to Tobago? Is it Fast and Furious to bring into Tobago?
The discipline of drag racing.
The discipline of drag racing. I like the way you put it, the discipline of drag racing. I know, you know what I'm very happy for? I'm happy for you guys, specifically because that time is coming from country late at night. And that stretch from between John Dial and by the Dwight Turks them there, I used to have to drive on the shoulder because men just take over the road. But I haven't seen that in a while. Is that because you guys have brought some discipline to drag racing in Tobago?
I would think so, and better yet, if we do get a venue to hold all these events, it'll be even better.
Yeah, and he mentioned venue because the event this weekend is at the Canopy. And if my memory serves me right, some time ago, it was mentioned that that was earmarked. That venue was earmarked to probably be the home for motorsport in Tobago.
Yes, we in trials of having that done right now. So as a matter of fact, most of the team members are drag racers on the executive. Right?
Legal drag racers.
Dexter is a former drag racer. I don't know if you still have it in him. Miguel, Jomo, myself. Right. So you would think that drag racing is the first discipline that we'll try to see about or to attack. But because of the space, it was an issue. So that is why we kind of ventured into drift, which was a little more manageable. Right. So now that we get this little peak, this little ray of sunshine that we can actually hold something that people have been clamoring for, you know, because every minute somebody reaching and you're, Randall, you're not fighting for us, use one of us. And you know, Dexter, they'll meet Dexter and, you know, have the same conversation. So now we're at a position where we actually seen some headway in that discipline, because as you know, there are a lot of disciplines in motorsport, drag racing, motorcycling, drifting. So we're just glad that we have this little ray of sunshine to go forward with this.
But where discussions are at this time in terms of making that venue like a permanent home for drag racing?
Dexter will be able to.
Dexter will be able to tell us. So you just see what you are the man behind the scene.
Yes, I'm the competition director.
You're the competition director. Yes. Well, we'll get to the competition in the meantime. Dexter, good morning again. Thank you so much for joining us here this morning. I mean, you had the King of the Hill. Now we're having what Randall says, legal drag racing. I mean, tell us about the event.
Yeah, definitely. Good morning, Marcus. Good morning to all your viewers. Definitely the Ultimate 660 is one that people have been asking for years. How do we get to race drag racing legit in Tobago? So what we've been able to do is block off a roadway temporarily to facilitate drag racing. And the Ultimate 660 is on this Sunday. I hear you saying Canopy, but it's really the Winston Murray Boulevard. For those of you who may not know the correct name, is that area just between what used to be Apex Bar and Grill, heading east along the roadway. So there's where the action will be taking place this Sunday. We have cars that regular quarter mile will run 10 seconds, 9 seconds. We even have an 8-second car coming to do an exhibition run. So there's a lot of action going to be taking place this Sunday.
Yeah, so Dexter, just give a brief description again, because it said, and I know where Apex is, but let's give a let me see, a better landmark. So we're coming from on the main road, right? I'm going on to the main road.
You're on the main road. You're
right?
Passing Rovenels, coming from the airport.
Right.
You pass Rovenels, you're coming up. Right. You pass Apex. Right. And you now reach the brand new road, the Winston Murray Boulevard. That's the name of it. Right. So that's the area that we will be occupying. There will be a nice pit area for all our competitors. They'll be under tents, being able to prep their cars, change the tires, check the oil, you know, check those conditions with the vehicle. And then they come onto the roadway where they will have that 1/8, which is 660 feet to race.
Oh, wow. So that's where the 660 comes in here.
Yes.
Ultimate 660 Street. So tell me about the participants. I mean, if I have a car and I think my car is fast enough, can I just enter the event, or is registration closed or still ongoing?
So registration.
I can chime in there for that, because just before I got here, I was speaking to our logistics guy in the team, and we're at over 50
Whoa.
vehicles.
This is Tobago or Trinidad?
This is Trinidad and Tobago, and we
Right.
still have about close to 30 vehicles on standby.
Wow.
Right, so that is the amount of support and the amount of people that wanted this.
So what's the determining factor to letting persons into the event?
No, well, we have a time. You know, there's time stipulated.
There's a trial.
No, in terms of the duration or the amount of participants.
Right. Yes.
Right. So we only have between 1 to 6, and ideally hosting
1 to 6 meaning 1 p.m. to 6 p.m.
Correct.
That's where you got the police to allow you guys. Okay. Cool.
Yes.
Right.
So because of that window, we have to regulate how many vehicles we allow to.
And then residents in that area, they're gonna be debarred from parts in that area within 1 to 6.
Yes. Well, that area is going to be entirely blocked off. As a matter of fact, patrons, pedestrians are allowed to park in canopy only.
On the stretch, the canopy stretch.
Anyway, in canopy where you go to exercise and stuff sometimes. Even on that Winston Murray Boulevard on the eastern side. By the roundabout is where the shuttles are going to you're going to be picked up.
So you have shuttles as well?
We have a shuttle service in place for the entirety of the event.
Okay, so let's break it down there. So you have shuttles, you're allowed to only park in Canopy or on the eastern side of the roundabout.
Yes, the boulevard.
And where the shuttles starting from?
Shuttles are starting from that roundabout, which is called the Davidson.
Right.
Davidson roundabout. That's the inner roundabout.
Okay.
The inner roundabout, not Pamela Nicholson, which is on the main road.
Okay,
right,
cool.
so that's the inner roundabout.
Yes.
So the shuttles are taking you from there and taking you to the venue. From the main road.
Okay.
So it's taking you from the roundabout, the inner roundabout, onto Pamela roundabout, which is on the main road, straight down the main road and into MIC road, which is Canaan Farm Road. The road by MIC. Yes, and that merges you onto the event.
So for persons who may want to get to the airport on Sunday, they have to take the main road.
They'll have to take the main road. You could take Killigwin Bay Road. That is by Stumpy. Police will be there at the end of Killigwin Bay Road to merge you right or west on to the Milford Road to go to the airport.
Yeah. And in terms of persons who may not be watching this program or may not have seen the marketing, I mean, any particular strategy would have been put in place to ensure that everyone understands that on Sunday.
Yes.
Because obviously there's a main thoroughfare for persons may want to get to the airport or even.
Yes. So I had a conversation. I even had a conversation with the sergeant in charge of the event. On yesterday, and I laid out the plan for her, so she understands. We also have it on the airwaves, so people are going to be sensitized about the event, right? So they are allowed to use the roundabout. That is the inner roundabout. They could come, but they have to spin right back around, go back to the main road, and head on to the main road straight to the.
Let's talk about the day itself. I'm not sure if you or Dexter want to take this one. Let's give a breakdown of what's going to happen on the day from 1 to 6. Do you have categories? I mean, how do you decide who wins or the overall winner and stuff like that?
Right. So, what you're going to do, you have trial runs. You have 2 trial runs. So, each car will have 2 runs, and then they will be placed into their categories. You have having 3 categories, right? So you have a left lane, a right lane, and depending on your best time, you'll be then placed in a category.
So, explain the difference between the left and the right lane.
There's no difference. It's just to get a feel of each side, because some people, like left-handers or like right-handers like me, I will have a preference of what lane I would like to drive on, right? Like when you go to the US, you just feel like a bit weird on the right. So, to be fair, we'll have to give everyone a chance to run on the both lanes. When they run, the best time now will be entered into a time bracket. We're doing 3 time brackets, right? So it'll be 3 sections of vehicles, being the slower ones to the faster ones, and we also have additional EV class, which is a all-electric class. So that class is a separate entity, not relatively to time, but to race against the other EV vehicles.
Yeah. So and it's only flat races. Like when I say flat races, there's like a sprint.
Yes, it's just a sprint. It's not the traditional quarter. It is just a 660. Right, so it's shorter, and that is because of safety reasons. The team takes safety very, very, very important, right? So we sat and we analyzed it, and we said, you know what, given the space, let us reduce it to 660 to ensure everyone's safety, because we don't have the length of runoff, in event of any harm or danger.
Yeah, so Dexter, you come in here, right? Because obviously drag racing people will ask about the safety of the event. I know you guys, you take safety very important. Tell me about the safety measures in place in terms of and where spectators will be and all these different things.
Oh, well, definitely, spectators will be safe. We have a verified spectator zone where we have bleachers will be provided for the spectators. It's off the raceway at a very safe distance. Between the bleachers and the raceway, we also have safety mechanisms there, barriers, tire walls that have been put down there in the event of a car probably losing a little control. Spectators will be way off, and there's safety for them, as well as for the driver. If there is an incident, the driver being able to cushion on a tire wall is very, very important. So we have safety along the raceway. The spectator zone, spectators, again, you will have the comfort of a high area to be able to view the races from the start to the end. We have vendors coming out, so we'll have food and drinks on sale.
Yeah.
I mean, the Tobago Fire Service, they will be there as well to give us that level of support in terms of any incident happening. A car probably engine catches a fire. We do have fire extinguishers stationed along the raceway. All these things happen when it comes to official racing. So we prepared for it, and definitely you'll see it being put into place on Sunday.
Yeah, and in terms of spectators, is there a cover charge?
Oh, definitely. Yes. So spectators, there's a cover charge of $40, 40 TT dollars. And, you know, it's really a lot you're going to be getting for that $40. You just need to be there from the go. The gates will be open from just about midday. And we'll have action right from midday right down until we wrap up 6 p.m.
Yeah, fantastic. And just before you guys go, I mean, who can we look forward to? Look forward to you, Dexter. What are some of the big names we can look forward to?
In the last meeting, we were kind of bantering. We're not getting to race, but, you know, because we had to work. We have to work. Yeah. But there are a lot of big names. Too much to mention. As a matter of fact, some of the guys were so excited. They brought in a Jamaican vlogger, lifestyle settings.
Oh, right.
Yes. So they are taking them around to garages and crews to show them their vehicles and interview them.
Is a sport tourism kind of event?
I'm telling you. So he is right now. I think footage is already out on YouTube with him, with some of the cars from here. So you know, everybody really excited, and the buzz is there.
Yeah, and I'm really, really happy that you guys have formed this association and that have brought some discipline to fellas who love the speed. They love the speed, and there's nothing wrong with it because it's a sport.
Yes.
You know, and I know some of the guys may not have you know, dreamt of probably going further than probably Tobago or Trinidad, but to get a space in Tobago where they can, you know, do what they love and try to mimic the Lewis Hamilton and those around the world. It's wonderful. I want to wish you guys all the best on Sunday. Just before you go, Dexter, just once again repeat the time is starting and the location, and then just urge probably motorists just for some patience between 1 to 6 p.m.
Yeah. So as you mentioned, that I just want to urge motorists who will be in the area come this Saturday afternoon, just after midday. We have already started prepping the area, but on Saturday, just after midday, you're going to see some movement there. So I'm urging on motorists in the area to really observe the speed limit, observe what's happening in the area. There's nothing going to be placed immediately on the roadway, but just be cautious that we have guys working and setting up on the sides of the raceway. So Ultimate 660 Streets, it's on this Sunday. Action starts promptly at midday, right down to 6 p.m. I urge you to come out very early, get to take advantage of all the races that are going to be happening, because the big names are going to be here. We have Michael Toby. He's straight out of Tobago, better Tobago. Yeah, and he has proven an 8-second skyline that he's going to bring out as a Tobagonian on the road for us. You know, there's so many other competitors. There's Rob. Rob is coming up with that 10-second GTR. You know, there's so many persons that are coming. And Habir, he has a 11. There's some Honda Godson right here from Tobago. They're going to be there on the raceway on Sunday. So we urge you all to come out early, come and support. Action starts from midday at the Winston Murray Boulevard.
Fantastic. We're going to have the checkered ladies Starting the race, I think.
Next time, okay.
I like that. Thank you guys so much for being here and good luck on Sunday. Good luck on Sunday. Fantastic. You has been chatting there with Randall Thomas and Dexter Stanley out of the Tobago Motorsport Association. It's going down this Sunday, the Ultimate 660 Streets. Yes, get down there on Sunday from just about midday. Pay your $40 and go and taking something nice. We're going to take a short break. When we get back, we're going to chat with Kyla Keith Wilson talking about netball, the Caribbean Junior Netball Championships in Trinidad and Tobago. But do me a favor, please. Don't forget to share the live, share the live, share the live.
Office looking professional.
Hello?
Hey, bandit!
Is this Charles and Charles Inc.? I'm your new receptionist.
Oh, yes. Welcome, welcome. This is Charles and Charles.
So you're Charles?
And Charles.
Okay then. Well, I see you're ready for business.
Oh, yes. I have my favorite photo, my desk, and a spot for George.
George?
On the doubles, man. Have my marriage certificate, my cow certificate, my divorce certificate.
Tax certificate?
Taxi? No, I used to pull bull.
No. Tax certificate.
Tax? Yes, I had one of that in the last office, but I lost it. No, wait, I had one in my mother's house, but I think the cow eats it.
Look, Mr. Charles.
And Charles?
Do you pay your taxes? It is critical to your business. You should call Anderson in Trinidad and Tobago. Yeah, they provide tax and accounting services, and their corporate secretarial services. The best.
Really? How you know?
Well, my last boss lost his whole business, and I lost my work.
Oh.
You know, there's a tax amnesty going on now.
Really? So I can pay all my back taxes?
And don't forget to call Anderson so you could save your business and I could keep my work. Oh God, no. This picture has got to go.
Put a smile on your face when you're moving from place to place. Good morning, good morning, morning, good morning, morning.
Viewers, welcome back, and thank you so much for staying tuned to Tobago Updates Television. We are chatting now with Kyla Keith Wilson. Yes, talking about the Caribbean Junior Netball Championships currently happening in Trinidad at the US Spec. Good morning to you, Kyla.
Good morning, Marcus. Good morning, Trinidad and Tobago. Good morning.
Good morning. I can see the excitement in your face already. I mean, tell me about the championship thus far. I mean, I'm seeing in the news that Team TTO, Trinidad and Tobago, we are doing really well, defending our title at the US Spec. I mean, in terms of the competition, where are we now? Is there a final to come? Tell Tobago what's happening.
All right. So to begin, the Jean Pierre Caribbean Youth Netball Tournament, which fondly is named after Jean Pierre. We are in Trinidad, and it's the home excitement, the home crowd excitement is there. We have 7 teams in the tournament. It started off with 8. One unfortunately had to come out of the tournament because of financial constraints. So we are down to the final day, the exciting day that the entire country, the entire region is waiting for, which would be the matchup against Trinidad and Tobago and Barbados. So far, the 7 countries that we have competing over the last couple of days are Antigua, Barbuda, Commonwealth of Dominica, Barbados, Trinidad and Tobago, Cayman Islands. So excitement on today is Trinidad and Tobago against Barbados.
Wow. What time is that match?
So all games usually start at 4, but today games start at 3 p.m. for all the persons that are coming out today. We have Trinidad and Tobago against Barbados that starts at 6. So persons come out in your numbers, come out in your red, white, and black, your horns and your voices to cheer them on. As you could hear, my voice is somewhat hoarse.
Yes.
A lot that's going on and the cheering and so for the girls.
Yeah, and Kyla, I'm aware that we have at least 4 Tobago players on the national team. I mean, you care to share the names of the players and what positions they are playing?
Oh, I will be delighted. So the 4 Tobagonians on the team are AMPLIA Edwards from Signan Hill Secondary.
Right.
She plays a position which is wing attack, center. She's even a goal shooter, but she's more played in the wing attack center area in this tournament. We have Arcada Muir. She's goal attack, goal shoot, and wing attack. We have Kayla James, wing defense center, and we have Kemaya Anderson. But she's on the defensive part of the team structure because of that agility and that ability that she has. She's needed and focused in the defensive area of the team.
Yeah, and this is an important step, you know, in the careers of the 4 young ladies that you mentioned there. I mean, are you proud of their performances thus far? Yeah, Kelly, you hear me right? Are you hearing me? I think I've lost Kyla. Yeah, I think I've lost Kyla there. 4 Tobagonians in the national team there, and it's always a proud moment for us here in Tobago when we have players representing.
And if I'm proud of them, that's the question.
Yes. Are you proud of the players? Yes.
Oh, yes, I'm hearing. I think Trinidad, Tobago, the schools, the families should be extremely proud of these girls because we're talking talent at this age is abound, you know. So to be able,
yes, that's
to be able to make the cut to now list it goes on the screen, you know, that is achievement on its own, and I think the future is bright for all of them, and a lot more persons to come on board and be part of that under 16 journey. We are in the 22nd edition of the tournament, and so it means that the tournament has a long, strong history, and there is room for more players to come on board each year through and discipline in your training ethics, and so the Trinidad and Tobago is proud. Tobago will also be proud, and there is room for a lot more of our athletes to continue to make these national teams.
Yeah, can we get past Barbados today?
Without a doubt. The work, we must give credit to the work that went into the training of these girls. The technical staff, the coaching staff of these girls has put the girls under rigorous training, as you could see on court for each game. The girls are playing at a standard and a speed. Their energy, their ball skills, you can't compare it. So once it is that the team continues to stay focused, to stay structured, to stay disciplined, and to stay united, it's without a doubt unbeaten.
And in terms of the support from the public, have you guys been getting the support at the US Spec?
Oh yes. Trinidad and Tobago has been coming out. They have been giving the girls their support. We are expecting a massive turnout today. The anticipated we have a number of persons from Tobago came in yesterday. Nicker's Netball Academy. We brought them out a bunch of girls, sharing them one day. Trinidad and Tobago has been supporting. We encourage them to continue to come out. But of course, everyone comes down to the last game of the night. We are encouraging persons to come out from 3 p.m. Support all the games. Come early. Get your tournament, your team, buy your lapel pins that mark Trinidad and Tobago. Win door prizes, and let us just end the tournament in a grand scale.
That's fantastic, Kyle. I'm excited as well because I'm seeing the excitement in your voice. I'm seeing it in your face as well. And you know, I really wish to get the girls all the best in going into the final game.
I'm not sure if you are hearing me because the internet.
Yeah, I'm hearing you, but I want to thank you so much for being here this morning. And you know, looking forward to seeing the game against Barbados today, and all the best thing going unbeaten throughout the tournament.
Yes.
Yes, fantastic.
Yes. Well, I would convey that excitement from you to.
Yeah, fantastic. Have a wonderful day, Kyla, guys. We've been chatting there with Mrs. Kyla Keefe Wilson, talking about the Jean Pierre Junior Netball Tournament, where we have a number of countries around the region participating there. And it's good to hear that Team Trinidad and Tobago, they are currently unbeaten and looking to end the season, or end the tournament unbeaten with their game against Barbados later on today. So yeah, for those who are in Trinidad, and you can go down at the UA Spec and take in the game and support Team TTO, yeah, please do that. So guys, this ends the sport program this morning. Of course, I want to highlight a few things happening this weekend. Again, we have the Ultimate 660 Streets. That's the Motorsport guys on Sunday, starting at 1 p.m. and ends at 6. We also have Tobago Cricket Association matches happening at Roxborough, Mariah and Shaw Park, starting at 11 a.m. both on Saturday and Sunday. 40 overs tournament, that's happening this weekend. So a lot's happening with sports. Today I wore my Trinidad and Tobago Football Association jersey because the Trinidad and Tobago women's senior team, they have an all-important clash, a must-win clash against El Salvador in their Group F match at the Hazy Comfort Stadium starting at 6 p.m. A win there will get them into the final round of qualifying for the CONCACAF qualifying tournament for the FIFA World Cup next year in Brazil. So all the best team, Trinidad and Tobago, the women's team. Hoping again, all those who have the time, you can go down at the Hazy Comfort Stadium and make it a sea of red as Team Trinidad and Tobago, they look to get into that final round where the Women's World Cup is concerned come next year. We have 2 Tobagonians on the team. I love to big up my Tobago players. Kenya Corner, Yaya Corner, out of Speyside Tobago. She is the captain of the team. And we have Asha James, our striker, out of Canaan Monaco. She's also in the mix there. So good luck to Team Trinidad and Tobago. Again, have a wonderful day today, Trinidad and Tobago. Today is World Transportation Day. We have free PTSD bus rides throughout the day. Take a ride to Speyside, take a ride to Charlottesville, take a ride to beautiful Castara. Let's take a ride through Tobago and be safe. Have a wonderful weekend. See you guys next week. And don't forget to share the live, share the live, share the live.
Today we had the main ridge cleanup, so we had a lot of stakeholders come together in the best interest of ensuring that the main ridge is, nicely preserved. We were blessed to have the presence of the EMA, the Environmental Management Authority. We had the Tobago Reforestation and Watershed Rehabilitation Program here in full support, and we also had representatives from TTAL, Tobago Tourism Agency Limited, as well as the regular support from the Office of the Secretary, Mr. Henry, and members of the Forestry Department.
The cleanup is part of our efforts to celebrate World Forestry Day or International Day of the Forest. This is a day that was declared by the United Nations General Assembly in 2012 to highlight the importance of forests to the entire globe basically. And we, being part of the division, we normally will do this as part of our commemorative day to show that we are stewards of the environment and of the forest resources that we have.
We had bottles, we had a lot of bottles. It's come from motorists traversing the area, they throw their bottles out the window. We had some plastic bags. I saw a lot of cigarette packs, and you know, cigarettes is a real concern to me. When you throw the butts out the window, it causes a lot of bushfire. So I'm pleading with people across the nation, please be mindful of these things.
Waste matter still gets itself into protected green areas, and we as humans and we as Tobagonians, we have a duty and responsibility to be stewards of these spaces in just very simple actions. If you're driving through the rainforest, we expect that you would keep your trash or your rubbish with you until you get to a point where you can dispose of it safely and efficiently.
Our main Ridge Forest Reserve is our backyard, and once it's our backyard, it's our home, and we have a responsibility to treat our home with respect and protect it, not only for now, but for our young ones coming up and for the greater good, meaning the rainforest contributes to a lot of our climate, the ozone, the oxygen that we breathe on a daily basis. So it is good to protect what matters most, and we start at home.
The main ridge protects our entire biodiversity, and it also secures our water resources. And I believe that our livelihood actually is deeply rooted and connected to nature, whether you like it or not. For some persons, it is direct. For some persons, it is indirect. And for me, it is indeed, I would call it an extraordinary milestone, because you know, this year, come April, we are actually celebrating 250 years of this main ridge reserve being protected since 1776.
Was a production of the Department of Information, Office of the Chief Secretary, Tobago House of Assembly.
You're viewing Tobago Updates Television, your exclusive gateway to Tobago, broadcasting the beauty of this island paradise to the world.
Good morning. You are viewing GMT Good Morning Tobago. I am your host, Natalie Seeley Richardson, and thank you to Marcus, Alex, and Renessa for starting us off this morning on the morning show. Let's get ready for news in 90 seconds for Friday, April 17th, 2026. Leave your wallets at home if you're taking the bus today. In celebration of World Transportation Day, the PTSC, in collaboration with the Division of Public Infrastructure, has announced that all bus rides across Tobago are free today only. Regular schedules remain in effect and passengers are urged to be at their designated stops on time to enjoy this island-wide initiative connecting our communities. The Tobago Divisional Task Force struck early Tuesday in Mason Hall as part of a crackdown on illegal firearms and narcotics on the premises on Belmont Farm Road between 3 and 4 a.m. under the state of emergency powers. A significant sum of cash was seized and one man was arrested. He remains in custody and is assisting investigators into the origin of the funds. The body of a 7-year-old Angelica Sadie Jogi has left Tobago for Trinidad. Following last week's fatal incident, THA officials collaborated with Caribbean Airlines to ensure the child's return was handled with the utmost dignity. The Jogi family is receiving compassionate support as they prepare for final rites. And that was your news in 90 seconds. Make sure and tune in again at 6:30 p.m. for a full newscast. And of course, with that, I introduce our two guests this morning who are starting us off on GMT this morning. No strangers. We have Barry Lovelace and Sean McCoon. Both are committee members on the 250 Mainridge Planning Committee, and let me tell you, something big is happening. Now, many of you are familiar with our Mainridge, yes? And I hope so. If you're viewing for the very first time and you don't know this part of Tobago, you are in for a treat. And it is said to be the oldest protected forest reserve. Some say in the world, some say in the Western Hemisphere. You do your research. Some of us believe it's the entire world, right? But we'll go with the Western Hemisphere to cover our bases on this side. And we're talking about something that is happening significantly this month for the Mainridge and for those of us here in Tobago. So, gentlemen, good morning and welcome.
Good morning, Natalie. Good morning.
Pleasure to be here.
All right, so I want to start off talking about a little bit of the history. When we talk about the Mainridge being the oldest protected forest reserve, we're looking at it being protected from since 1776 officially, right? When we look at that history, why is that significant to us here in Tobago and this part of the world?
Well, it's significant for several reasons, as you rightfully said.
Right.
It's the oldest protected rainforest, and I am one who say in the world.
Right.
And by the way, good morning to all the viewers. Right? And I mean, it's very important because that place is, there's no older conservation law, especially as it regards to protecting forests that we can find. So that place is Tobago at the helm of conservation law, right? And that's significant internationally, and that is recognized. One thing though, for a very long time, it has been said that it was the 13th of April. I guess the 30th, the 13th, somebody misheard or something, and that got, propagated. Even on Wikipedia, you'll see that. But what this has done, this research that, and this event has done, it has caused a correcting, setting the record straight. We were able to go to the actual archives in the UK, see copies of the ordinance, the original ordinance, and behold, it's the 30th. So we had to recalibrate everything. And I think it was fitting that, when was it? That it was declared in the last sitting, I think it was, in the THA legislature, that the day, the 30th of April, was declared Mainridge Forest Day.
All right.
Going forward.
So we have that correction noted, the 30th of April. And we're looking at an act from 1776.
Yes.
So here we are, 250 years later, right? And it's amazing that even then someone saw the potential, the importance of having this Mainridge protected. So when we look at that and we look at us even now, how does a 1776 act still be relevant and still help manage the ridge even today?
Well, I just want to say something about the act.
Sure.
It was this gentleman, Swami Jennings. He was a parliamentarian and an MP, right? There in the British Parliament. He was the commissioner. He was on the commissioner of boards for plantations, who, responsible for the, the colonial plantations in the Caribbean, including Tobago.
Right.
Right? And so he had this friend called Stephen Hales, who was a scientist. And he was looking into plants in terms of those early research into how plants transpire. Right? Now, back in the day, that was kind of absurd thinking at the time that plants actually sweat.
Yes.
You know? But anyway, so that he was his friend, and he was convinced. And for 11 years, he would have been in the parliament there trying to convince his planters' associates,
Right.
or other, because, you know, it was the House of Commons,
Yes.
you know, the planting class and so on, trying to convince them that there was merit in conserving the mountainous woodlands of Tobago for the sake of
And
rain.
I would imagine that's a hard sell,
Yeah,
because
yeah.
I mean, plantation owners, it's a business. You need space.
Exactly. And if you check the date, 1776,
Yes.
that was the same year America got its independence from the
Yes.
British. So all that was happening around that time.
Right.
You know, so for him to bring such a obscure matter before Parliament.
Yes. Wasting people's time. Yes.
Wasting people's time. But the Act, once it was established, 1776, 30th of April, right? Well, if you read the transcript, it said there's a word there, unalienable, meaning forever.
Right.
Right? So it was protected forever
Right.
by law.
Yeah.
Right? And so we benefited from that today. Now that it is the backbone of Tobago, you know, in terms of protecting our water supply.
Right.
That's where we get it from. Biodiversity, rainforests are amongst the richest or most biodiverse ecosystems on the planet, and we have our own part of it here, right? In terms of tourism, it's the backbone of our tourism industry. So, you know, it is very significant.
But I wonder if those of us who live in Tobago really understand the importance of this main ridge. Because you talk about tourism, you talk about it being one of the backbones of tourism. And, you know, some of us, we don't get to enjoy Tobago.
Yes,
I mean,
yes.
here is home, here is life. We're lifing, right?
And
you're going to work,
exactly.
etc.
And that's what we're trying to promote throughout this year, that
Right.
visit the rainforest.
Yeah.
Visit the rainforest. Well, a little later on, I'll talk some of that, what you can
I wonder if we have any viewers who live in Tobago who've never been to the rainforest. Well, you have a chance to fix that because it needs to fix, right? Most definitely. And we're bringing in you, the viewers, now, because, of course, there's a celebration planned. 250 years, something, of course, significant. Sean, if you can take us through some of the events and how can the public be a part of these celebrations?
Right. So on Monday, the 27th, we have the opening ceremony at the Main Ridge Visitor Center. Good morning again. And that basically will see the kickoff of all of the lovely events and activities that we have planned. As Mr. Lovelace said, it really is a big deal. And Tobago really has a lot to smile about, a lot to celebrate, and a lot to share with not just Trinidad and Tobago, but the region and the world. So this is indeed something that we can be proud about and look forward to. On Tuesday, the 28th of April, we have the school reenactment debate, which basically is a theatrical presentation, but yet still allowing the students to participate in the reenactment of what was when the ordinance was read and when that green legislation came into being. And as Barry said, you know, that is really, really something that we cannot disregard or ignore. It really has placed Tobago in a position where we are a standard bearer, where climate action is concerned, where green space management is concerned, and where, you know, conservation efforts would be concerned as well. So certainly getting the students from across secondary schools across the islands involved was really a pleasure working with them.
Right.
We're still working with them, and they're prepping and they're going through their paces. I think Barry had a session with them yesterday, and they're quite enthusiastic. So lots to look forward to on the 28th of April at the Assembly Legislature. I believe it would be streamed, and it would be treated with, you know, with the usual viewing capacity as a sitting. Right, then we have on the 29th of April a bird banding exhibition and guided tour, right, that will actually be led by members of our team from the Main Ridge 250 Planning Committee. And then we have I would say under the auspices of Mr. Darren Henry, the former conservator of forests and also now our secretary for the Division of Environment, Climate Resilience and Energy. So I know he's quite enthusiastic about that, and Mr. Henry has actually been a standard bearer where conservation and the main ridge and education is concerned. So good morning to Mr. Henry if he's listening. On the 30th, we have the time capsule parade and unveiling of the ordnance replica, and that is basically the symbolic representation of what took place in 1776, 250 years ago. And we have a time capsule where you can send messages into the future. There'll be some items and articles placed in the time capsule. And that will now become an ecotourism attraction and something that is further noteworthy that we have here in the Main Ridge Forest Reserve. And then on the same night, on the 30th of April, we have the Gala Awards ceremony for the Main Ridge 250, and that is where we seek to honor those who would have contributed significantly, you know, to the management of the green space, to conservation efforts, to public education, to awareness, and all of these things that go towards raising awareness and really protecting and shining a positive light on the Main Ridge Forest Reserve and this gem that God has blessed us with here in Tobago. So Barry can tell you a little more about the time capsule parade, because that is really something exciting that we want to make into a spectacle.
Sure, Barry?
So go ahead. Yeah. So the time capsule, and there are two aspects of it I want to talk about. What's inside the capsule and the ceremony itself. Now the ceremony, as Sean would have pointed out, would be happening on the anniversary day itself. On the morning,
that's at the Main Ridge Orientation Center.
Now if you notice the slew of activities that Sean mentioned there, right? There are certain ones, well, in terms of opportunity for public participation, most of it would be by viewing, you know, the national the television networks and so on, right? This one is the same, right? There'll be some invited guests and so on, but we also inviting, I mean, we can't have the whole of Tobago come up, you know, so we're not promoting that, right? But we do invite the residents of the Main Ridge to come and view that procession. Now, what it will be, we're liaising with the Defense Forces to represent. We're still working that out, either them or the cadets, right? And we'll have a platoon of 25 persons, each representing a decade, right? And they'll do a sort of ceremonial march with the time capsule. They'll hand it over to someone who is representing past stewards, like a retired forester, right? It's like telling us a story. He will represent the past stewards. He'll make about 100 footsteps, then hand it over to persons who represent the present stewards. And so, well, there we envision people like the Chief Secretary, Mr. Henry, Darren Henry, the now Secretary with responsibility for that area.
So quite a production is being planned.
And then they will pass it on to students who represent the future.
So you're capturing the past, present, and future.
I want to highlight what's in it, because this is the one opportunity that the public has to participate. In that time capsule, I should mention the time capsule will be open in the year 2076, 50 years from now, the 300th anniversary of the rainforest. In that time capsule, there will be a digital storage. It's called an MDIS, an archival digital storage, specially made, right? And on that storage will be a registry of persons sending messages to the future. And you can be part of that, right? So you can get your message sent into the future. How? Sean, what's that website?
Main Ridge. That's Main Ridge
200, 250, www.250mainridge.titl.tt. Repeat it again.
mainridge250.titl.tt, and you could do a simple Google search, Mainridge 250, and it will take you to the website. The information is also available on the division's Facebook and Instagram handles. That's the Division of Environment, Climate Resilience and Energy. Yes. So you can find all of the activities and the website and information.
Right. So, to be a part of that capsule, you need to go on to register.
Right. To go on the website,
register your,
you will see there's a form there. A form there. You click on it. Now the thing about it is not yet opened. It will be open for 250 hours.
Okay.
Right.
All right. So we're keeping the theme.
Yes. So that works out to 10 days, 10 hours.
Right.
It will be closing at midnight. Well, 11:59 on the 28th.
Right.
I think that's a Tuesday, the 28th. Right. So when you work it back, it will be opening tomorrow at 2 p.m.
Okay.
Right. So if you go to the website now, you see a countdown.
Right.
So 2 p.m. tomorrow, then the form will be opened up and you get in your messages to the future. And so that is the way everyone in Tobago could participate directly.
Now, I must ask, because I noticed when the flyer was up, a lot of the activities seem to be by invitation only.
Yes.
And I know you mentioned, of course, you can't facilitate the entire of Tobago, but something like this, how do you drill it down for children to be more aware of it, even members of the public, because I think we're getting people excited about, attending this or being part of the celebration, and then you see by invitation.
Well, Sean will take this one.
Invitation only. So Sean, how are we managing this? Because I see some I would want to come and I'm saying, okay, well, I don't have an invite, so I can't just show up.
Members of the media would be invited, so I'm sure that you would have, a foot in there as well. Now, the reason we structured it in such a manner is because we have to, obviously, it's a production.
Right.
Right? Now, of course, all of the events would be live streamed, so you can still tune in and so on. But I would like to say that throughout the course of this year, we have a number of activities planned. We have several things that will continue with the tours and really experiential, engaging activities for children, for families, for visitors to our island. Because remember, at the end of the day, as Barry said, the Mainridge 250 really showcases the eco-centric part of our island. And it is, in fact, the heart and soul of our ecotourism product. The Biosphere Reserve has 12 communities, if I'm not mistaken, just around the Biosphere Reserve, which, are around the Mainridge Forest Reserve. And all of these communities are synonymous or known for ecotourism and the experiential eco-centric tourism approach and community-based tourism. So all of these communities have activities upcoming. We continue to plan. We have a hike and plant with Tobago Reforestation that is coming up on World Environment Day, which is June the 5th. So there are many engagements throughout the year, scattered across the year thereafter, after the week of activities and the productions and all of the things that we have planned. So there are many collaborators. We have Tobago Tourism Agency Limited. We have the Division. We have, we have many other partners who are coming in to plan events and plan experiential things that people can be part of and engage in.
I just wanted to reiterate one thing, that it's a year-long event.
Right.
So this event on the 30th year is like the beginning of the year.
Right.
So it'll go from the 30th of April 2026 until the 30th of April 2027.
Right.
And so there's a stream of activities that will flow. We have strong partners in TTAL. They too are planning events that you will hear about post the 30th of April, right? You asked about the students and young people. The division is looking at having a junior rangers program also on stream. So there are a lot of things that you'll hear about. You'll hear a lot about the forest this year.
Well, that's good to know, because I think many times we focus on events, and it's not every day someone or something turns 250. And, I'm just curious in terms of the planning committee and thinking of the legacy. How do we get our children? Because sometimes I say the adults, they are grown. We can't bend them anymore. But how do we get our children to understand where they live, what resources they have, and how to protect it and appreciate it. Because the average child now, if you ask them about the main ridge, I'm not sure they can tell you much about it, you know, because we, the adults, have done a very bad job in terms of passing on the information.
And even I had some fun yesterday working with the children. You know, many schools, about 5 schools.
Five schools.
I remember
Secondary
Speyside, Mason Hall, Harmons, Bishops. There was another.
And Goodwood.
Goodwood,
Yeah.
right.
Goodwood High.
And mostly the younger, the earlier Form 1, Form 2.
Form 1s and 2s, right.
And at first we were questioning how they would respond, you know, history and 70. But they were so animated, they wanted to, I asked, well, who want to play, you know, there are 6 main characters.
Right.
And everybody put up their hand and wanting to play, so I had to, you know,
work it out.
Yes, audition them and
yeah.
you know, so they are quite,
Sorry, Barry.
Yes,
I just wanted to make a plug as well. Now, one of the things that we often ignore is that the Main Ridge Forest Reserve is actually a green antiquity.
Yes.
Right.
Yeah, so we had actually some interest from Ms. Abby Taylor, the Director of Antiquities, which is a heavily educational-based aspect of this whole thing. And she's also coming in as a partner.
Right.
And hopefully the division of tourism as a whole and creative industries, which Antiquities is under the remit of, can contribute significantly. We have tourism clubs in the schools.
Yes.
We have the environmental clubs in the schools. We even have art clubs. So those are avenues whereby we can have engagement, further engagement from the students. In addition to the debate, and as Barry said, we had some fun with the students yesterday. They're quite enthusiastic. I was pleasantly surprised. They're quite open-minded, and they're quite, you know, receptive to the information, and they're into it. And I think
and it's important how you present the information as well.
Absolutely.
You know, very engaging and hands-on because as adults, and you all would have gone through that experience, assuming that they may not be interested in this, but here you were pleasantly surprised. You know.
No, you're working with very compressed timelines.
Yes.
Right. So that's a factor. But I mean, you highlighted that most things are by invitations only. So I think we should take a moment to stress the ways the public could participate.
Right, please do.
Right? So we have the opening ceremony that will be streamed. We want you all to view. Right?
Yeah.
The debate, right? Now, the venue of it is the legislature, THL legislature, the assembly legislature. That can hold very many people, right? It will be streamed via their network.
Yes.
I understand TTT will also be streaming that and the other events.
Right.
So that's something to look forward to and view. Right. You have the procession, right, on the 30th.
Right.
That too will be live streamed. We are inviting physically the community there up at the Main Ridge to come and to view it. Right. So those are and most of all, direct participation. You can send your message to the future.
Yes, I think that's very interesting. And for the benefit of our viewers, we're talking about Main Ridge, we're talking about Forest Reserve. We know where it's located, but for the viewers who are new to Tobago, tell us the location of the Main Ridge. Sean.
So the Main Ridge Forest Reserve straddles the northeast of the island. It's basically the spine of the island. If you look at the map of the island, you will see this big green lush expanse between the northeasterly tip coming straight down to the middle eastern part of the island. And we have 12 or 13 communities in and around, which starts from, I would imagine, Runnymede, Castara, and comes straight around Lansford, Charlottesville, Speyside, and comes all the way around. If you could put the map up, you can get a visual on it.
It's in the logo.
And it's in the logo as well. So the Main Ridge 250 logo actually shows the geographic representation and the location of where the Main Ridge Forest Reserve is.
Right, and on the flyer, viewers can look at the logo on the top right-hand corner of the screen, and you do see that brown highlighted area within the green, and that gives you a clear idea of where the Main Ridge is located. And I know many of you like to go and do your own research, so I challenge you, go check it out. And of course, those of you who have never been on the trails in the Main Ridge or, you know, done any activity, even if you just drive across and you go by the center and just, you know, catch that view and just take it in for a few minutes, I encourage you to do so. Now, before we wrap up, gentlemen, I want to ask as well, because again, you know, we take a lot for what we have around us granted, and I'm quite aware that the main ridge is the heart of our UNESCO Northeast Tobago Biosphere Reserve. How has that international recognition changed the way we monitor our endemic species? For example, Sean, help me with it's the white-tailed hummingbird. Yes. So how, you know, how do we treat with that?
Well, in terms of the division, the department of the environment, right? They have been working to put things in place, an actual trust, right, for the management of that whole area.
Right.
Also, on the marine side, we are working feverishly to have it designated as a protected area or an environmentally sensitive area, right? Whereby laws now will be put into place to give it, you know, that further protection, right? And during this celebration, we have been reaching out to even get participation from UNESCO representatives, right? Of course, that will be happening further along in the year, right? TTAL in particular, they will be organizing a conference. I'm not sure if it's a webinar-style conference or an in-person conference, right? But more will come on that, and UNESCO surely will be a part of that whole conference thing. And that just brought something to mind. Again, during the preparation, I mentioned Swami Jennings as the parliamentarian, right? He didn't have any children, so we were wondering, well, in terms of his lineage and so on. And we said, well, did a little bit of research. The house that he lived, we found out that it was passed on to a cousin.
Okay.
And so we sent a letter there, right? We just sent a letter to the address with a hope. That was Secretary Henry. Right? Sent a letter to the address with the hope of a reply. And we got a reply.
Excellent.
Some great-great-great-grand of his cousin. Right? Replied and said the family will be happy to contribute in whatever which way. So that's an exciting thing. So we still have to kind of respond to them and see what ways we can. So the year has
you have a full year ahead, most definitely. And to end this, I must ask you, gentlemen, to think of one word, just one word that comes to mind to describe what we have here in the Main Ridge.
Well, my word is amazing.
All right.
Yes.
I would say breathtaking.
Right. So we have amazing and breathtaking. And I want you to have your words, viewers. So those of you who have visited, you can share it if you're looking at us right now, and you can share on social media that one word that captures your experience with the Main Ridge. And for those of you, again, who have never been there, I challenge you, go and experience and get your one word so you can share with us. Gentlemen, thank you. And we wish you all the best in all the activities planned. Thank you so much. And let us remember that what we have is beautiful. Let's take care of it. It starts with a simple act of throwing your garbage in a garbage bag or a trash can. Not through the window while the car moving, not while you're walking through Scarborough. There are bins. Hold it in your hand a little longer. There are bins all around us. And it starts with that little tiny act, you contributing to the welfare of what we have here, which is very special. 250 years, somebody saw it fit to protect this, what we have, forever and ever. So again, gentlemen, all the best. Viewers, we go for a quick break. When we return, another guest, another very important topic that you need to be a part of.
We are people in the sun. We are beaches, we are rivers. We are melanated ones. We special and there is no denying. Tobago is number one. I am you and you are me. Together we
Trinidad is my home, and I always say charity begins at home. So I'm just delighted to bring this team of dedicated volunteers. Part of our motto is that we just don't send relief. We hand deliver it with care and compassion. And as I would always tell my team, the best way to find oneself is to lose oneself in the service of others.
Be viewing Caribbean Medical TV on this station.
Quartz is well known as the Caribbean's largest retailer, providing consumers for generations with the very best products to enhance their homes. This year, we bring our expertise to businesses. Quartz Business Solutions will serve small, medium, and large companies with the very best products at the most competitive prices, backed by warranties and after-sales support. Hoteliers, office managers, restaurants, and so many more. Quartz Business Solutions, a brand of the Unicomer Group.
Our world is filled with rhythm. Rhythm that's unapologetic, infectious, timeless. Rhythm is commitment in action. It's how we show up for each other with unrelenting support that goes the distance. Rhythm lives in the tiny beats of our most intimate moments and the seismic roars of our biggest achievements. Rhythm is resilience in motion. So even when things go out of sync, we do what it takes to bring the rhythm back. At Flow, we understand your rhythm because we live it. That's why we're dedicated to building a network as resilient as you, with a team of familiar faces working every day to keep you on beat. You're at the heart of everything we do, and our commitment is to keep your rhythm flowing, no matter what.
Okay. 335, 336, 337, 338, 339.
Counting on your fingers again. No wonder you lose your business.
Grandpa, thanks for helping me start over.
You not lucky in business, you know. As a child, you tried to sell bug plum. That failed. As a teenager, you and your boyfriend tried to break into the jewelry business. But hey, where that boy end up?
He live in Aruka in the Grove. The golden one.
Oh, child, if you want to get into business, you have to have your financial records intact. But hey, do you know your numbers?
Of course, 624 333.
No, child, your numbers, your ratios, your equity ratios. You have a financial handicap.
What?
You need to see somebody about that. Anderson.
Who?
Anderson in Trinidad and Tobago, they offer tax and accounting services. They know about financial management.
Grandpa, I started this business with nothing.
And nothing is what you will end up with unless you call Anderson Services. Here.
Okay, this card is nice.
Yeah.
What's this?
Your rental fee. Have business will pay rent. Hot and groovy in the soca party.
Thank you, viewers, for staying with us, and welcome back. If you are now joining us for whatever reason, you are viewing GMT Good Morning Tobago, and I'm your host, Natalie Seeley Richardson. Another gentleman has joined my presence this morning, Dr. Paul Crooks, who is the media liaison for the Trinidad and Tobago Vet Association. Good morning, Dr. Paul Crooks.
Good morning. Thank you for having me. Good morning, viewers.
Again, you know, no stranger to us here on Tobago Updates Television, and something very important we have to bring to your attention and to share. Now, I would have seen a joint statement put out in the public recently. So if you can tell us, the organizations who came together, and just highlight very briefly the concern that briefing expresses.
All right. Okay, so let me start by saying today I'm representing the Trinidad and Tobago Veterinary Association as the media liaison. However, this statement was not put out by the Trinidad and Tobago Veterinary Association, and there's a reason why. The Trinidad and Tobago Vet Association has been working with the Veterinary Surgeons Registration Board.
Right.
That board is a governmental agency, I guess, and they are ultimately responsible for registering vets.
Right.
So even if you get your qualifications and so on, you are not legally allowed to practice unless you are, there is some leeway there, granted. For example, changeover from the last government administration to this one, in that period, there was some delay in the registration of current veterinarians. So those vets were still allowed to practice. But generally, we're talking about persons who are not even qualified when we put out that statement. But regardless, the Vet Association is working with the board to get the complete list of all persons who are registered to practice vet medicine in the country.
Right.
It is a matter of course that wherever a veterinarian or any medical practitioner really goes to practice, they must be registered with the local statutory body, whatever that body may be, to practice legally. Right. So what is the reason that we put out the statement? So the statement basically says, and this is just the Tobago Animal Hospital, the Trinidad and Tobago Society for the Prevention of Cruelty to Animals, and the Vet Vibe, but we have the co-signing of all the other vets on the island.
Right.
Basically, we put out the statement to say that currently there are persons, and it has come to our attention for many reasons, but particularly because in many cases diseases have been mismanaged.
Right.
But there are persons who are on the island of Tobago who are neither qualified nor registered to practice veterinary medicine.
However, they are giving those services.
However, they are diagnosing animals, they are administering treatments, they are advising on prognoses, and in many cases, unfortunately, misdiagnosing and mistreating these patients. Now, while that may not necessarily be a big problem, like you go by a equivalent to a Travaseas and you get some vitamin E supplement, that doesn't necessarily do you any harm. Is it helping you? Probably not, but it isn't doing you any harm.
Right.
In some cases, we have seen a lot of harm as a result of the mismanagement of these
and of
cases.
course, I mean, when you have your pet, your farm animals, you want them to be taken care of, especially if they're in some sort of distress. When you go to get help, you don't want them to deteriorate, you know, because they're not getting proper care.
That's right.
And I think many of the public may not be very aware of maybe the questions to ask or what signs. So let's say I'm a first-time pet owner and I decide, okay, I need, of course, to follow up, get just checkups on my, let's say it's a dog, and somebody said, oh, you could take them to place X or Y. So me walking into this office, if the person has a physical office or clinic, what should I look for maybe initially to kind of make me feel comfortable? Okay, this place seems legit. What kind of questions can I ask the vet as well?
Very, very good question. So I will say this. By law, there is no requirement for a veterinarian to have his credentials on display.
Right.
Just like in human medicine.
Yes.
You may go to a dentist, you may go to a medical practitioner, a physician, and you may see certificates, diplomas, whatever, postgraduate work and so on. You may see those on display, you may not. That does not mean the person is not registered to practice. That doesn't mean the person is not qualified. And therefore it becomes increasingly challenging for a member of the public to determine whether or not this person is legitimate.
Right.
So how can you tell? Well, definitely ask questions, probing questions about the disease process that is happening in your patient, if it is a disease process. Now, oversimplification of things is that non-vets, persons who are not registered and qualified, should not be treating pet animals, horses, or exotic animals generally. Farm animals, there are persons who come from the Eastern Caribbean Institute of Agriculture and Farming who do animal health assistant work, who are capable of, in some cases, managing minor disease in farm animals, administering injections, even performing minor surgical procedures like castration in piglets.
Right.
But that should not be the case for pet animals, horses, or exotic animals. And so once that person, you go to that person, let's say you go to a pet store, and the pet store owner says, you know, well, I could vaccinate this puppy for you, right? That person, again, the owner of the pet store may be a vet.
Right.
Certainly is a possibility, right? But if the person says, I can vaccinate that puppy for you, ask some questions about, okay, what are we vaccinating for? What are the diseases that we're trying to prevent? Why are we using those vaccines?
Right.
What are the recommendations in terms of the frequency of vaccination? Recently, we had a card, a vaccine record card, a photocopy of a card from a legitimate vet. It was copied and a vaccine was administered to the dog.
Right.
but no signature was affixed to the copy of the card.
Right.
So in that case, we know that that person, whoever that person was that administered the vaccine, was not a vet,
right,
and did not sign.
And quite intentional about it.
Intentional about
Yes.
it. So that person deliberately copied a card from a vet and refused to sign. And that is one of the red flags, right? If that person isn't affixing his name to the vaccine, why isn't he?
Right.
When you ask the person their name, you can ask them, one, what is your name? Two, where did you practice? Where did you learn vet medicine? Where were you
Right.
trained?
Right.
And they should be able to tell you this university or so. And maybe even you can ask the year that they qualified. But when you ask those probing questions about the disease process or the process you're trying to prevent, in the case of vaccines, that person should be able to give you a very accurate answer. Certainly common things are common. All vets are human, so obviously we can forget things from time to time.
Right.
But for the most part, they should be able to say a common disease process, common procedure like vaccines, here's what we're doing, here's why we're doing it. At the very least, they should be able to tell you that. And you know, many viewers here would know, you go, you talk to a lawyer, talk to a dentist, you talk to a doctor, you talk to a vet, you talk to a mechanic, and you leave there and you're like, that was fishy.
Yeah,
you
yeah,
know,
yeah.
you leave there and you think this
Yeah.
person kind of...
A red flag has
That's right.
popped
You may
up,
not
so-
even be able to put your finger on it, right?
But you're uneasy about the
That's
interaction.
right. So your Google is your friend, one. Of course, now there's AI, and AI could hallucinate all sorts of things. It may or
Right.
may not be accurate, but Google
Yeah.
is your friend. But also call us. That's why we put out the statement.
Right.
To say, here are numbers that you can get. Talk to us. Because we're not trying to steal anybody's clients per
Right.
se.
Yeah.
But you can call us just to say, listen, I've been going by this guy. Is he really a vet?
Right.
And if you do want a second opinion, you can get that. But at the very least, through those numbers, the Tobago Animal Hospital, the TTSPCA Tobago, or the Vet Vibe, and you can find us on Facebook, WhatsApp, Instagram, what have you. Just search for those names, or you can call, I could give you the Animal Hospital number offhand, 239-7837, and ask, say, is this person a registered vet? And then describe if there was something that happened that you're concerned about. Say, listen, here's what went on with my animal. Here's what happened. Here's why I'm concerned. What do you think we should do from here?
And is there a difference between a vet assistant and a registered vet technician?
Right. Unfortunately, across the Caribbean,
Yeah.
there is no vet technician
Okay.
registration at the moment. Where in human medicine, for example, nurses go through specific training
Right.
and they're registered nurses. That's not the case for technicians. So
Okay.
for the most part, technicians, persons who maybe have a degree in biology or something like that, who work
Okay.
alongside vets
Right.
and trained to give injections and
Right.
put a intravenous catheter prior to surgery and that sort of thing. They may be trained to do that. For example, even the university in Grenada, St. George's University, does employ persons as technicians, and those persons are not trained specifically in any
Right.
area. They undergo a training there at the
Right.
university, and they are not certified. So there is no vet technician in particular, but remember, unless there are specific supervised interactions with a veterinarian, those injections should not be given to pet animals. So for example, and I put there in the statement that there are exemptions,
Right.
certain exceptions. If you have a cat that you brought to us and we diagnose the cat with diabetes, right? And the cat needs insulin. The cat needs insulin twice a day maybe. And the expectation is that you would give at home. So the
Right.
vet will work alongside you to show you how to give the injection, where
Right.
to give it, how much to give, how to
Right.
measure, and so on. And then it's left to you to
Right.
continue to give to your cat. Or if you're a human patient who has diabetes that's insulin dependent, again, your doctor would show you how much to pull up, how to
Yes.
give it under the skin, by the
Yes.
stomach, and so on, right? So there are cases where a client will be instructed to give give injectable medications. And of course, students or any paraprofessionals, that is people who are in the field,
Right.
may also undergo training and have the opportunity to diagnose, treat, give injectable medications, perform surgical procedures under the supervision of a vet, whether direct or indirect, but in most cases direct supervision. And so those exemptions are there, but a technician or somebody who's worked in the field for 15 years with a veterinarian is not qualified on his own and definitely not registered to be able to make diagnoses and administer treatments.
And, you know, many times as, you know, people are looking at their budgets, their pockets, and we may see a vet service being offered for a lot cheaper than when we check out the established places, and we may be tempted to go that way. And it may be obvious to some, but what are some of the risks in going that way?
Right. So the cost may be a factor, right? But just remember, like with the mechanics, now there are a lot of people who work with mechanics, qualified, registered mechanics. They work with them and they know how to change oil and they know how to change air filter and fix up your brakes, change up the disc pad and so on. But you present them with a problem more complex than that and they don't know how to diagnose it. But they don't tell you that. So they just make you buy part after part after part. And by the end of it, yeah, you might have started cheaper, perhaps. But by the end of it, you end up paying $10,000 to fix something that would have cost you $1,000 in the first instance. So that tends to be what might happen if you go by the non-vet, depending on the complexity of the case. Of course, remember, common things are common and simple things are simple. If you're exposed to or you work with a vet, you'll probably be able to say this is tick fever and here's how to treat tick fever. Or you might be able to say this animal just needs deworming and safely give a dewormer, right? But when it becomes more complex than that, that is where the issues arise. So cost could be considered a factor, but here's where the problems come. So not only can you potentially end up spending more because of misdiagnosis and erroneous treatments, but also this is an actual living being that is being treated. You have to wonder what are the consequences of the various medications being given. And you think about the grander scale issues, environmental concerns. When you give antimicrobials to a dog, that the antimicrobials, some of them, some percentage of it passes out in the stool, right? And then if you never needed that antimicrobial to begin with, we are creating an environment where the antimicrobials are more and more prevalent, and we know the problem is there, where you might end up going for surgery, you yourself as a human patient, and then get an infection in the surgical theater that can be treated. So we are trying to reduce the use of antibiotics, but also even beyond that, there was a case last year where an animal went to a non-vet and was diagnosed with some infection, I assume, and the animal was given a medication that is no vet would really use in a pet animal. They would use it for sheep, goats, and so on, but not for a pet animal. And this animal was given 5 milliliters of that liquid in the muscle while being the animal itself being 3 kilograms. 3 kilograms, 6 pounds roughly is about the size of a cat, right? An average cat. And it was given this 5 milliliters, which may not sound like a lot, in the muscle
for that weight,
for that size of animal. And as a result, the animal could never use the leg again. So these are the kind of things that could happen when you go to a non-vet. And then you put your animal at risk, you potentially put your family at risk with whatever medications and so on that may be given. So all of that has to be considered when saying, okay, well, this costs maybe like $100 less. Is it worth the $100 less? That's the question.
And I think we're fortunate enough to live in a very close-knit society. And I think if we just ask around, you know, who are the persons qualified? You ask questions. We mind people business all the time, you know, so mind somebody business for your pet's sake. We ask questions. Who is that person? Who is a vet? And, you know, ask somebody in the office, you have pets, who do you take your animals to, that kind of thing. So I think it's something we can work through, something if you were not aware of and you are hearing it for the very first time, and now that you are aware, you know, do your research. Tobago is fortunate to have excellent options available, organizations. There are some of the vets, and you can add Dr. Crooks, you know, who would come home, do home visits, etc. as well, work with your schedule. So do your research. Pets become part of our families. We love them, we care for them, and we want what is best for them. So try and do right by them and make very informed decisions. Now, how do you deal with persons who are purporting to be vets, pretending to be vets, and let's say I come to you and I have evidence, let's say, is it that that person can have charges brought against them? Take us through that part of it.
All right, so currently we're looking at 2 laws currently in the books: the Animal Diseases and Importation Act, as well as the Veterinary Surgeons Registration Act. Neither one clearly defines what a vet does.
Okay.
And why that's important, and why the statement there put in about pet animals, I should have really included horses and exotic animals as well.
Mm-hmm.
We know that there are the animal health assistants in the ministry and so on who do go out and see farm animals and that sort of thing. That is still under the direct supervision or indirect supervision of a veterinarian.
Right.
So they should be guided by that before administering antibacterials or so on. They should consult with a veterinarian. They have some leeway and independence, and of course they can perform surgeries. And then there are paraprofessionals, including the technicians and the students, who do surgical procedures and so on under the supervision of a vet. So because of those complicating factors, and the law just stating that somebody who purports or appears to be a veterinarian presents as a veterinarian, it is not fair necessarily to say that because somebody administers an injectable medication that this person is pretending to be a vet.
Yes.
They may in fact legitimately be doing that.
Right.
So this is where it gets complicated. Because the law is not well defined, it means that there's been hesitation to pursue in court. Now we have the Trinidad and Tobago Vet Association has been working alongside the Vet Surgeon Registration Board, and they've just been reconstituted, so we're back at it, to try to get the complete list of all of the vets registered in Trinidad and Tobago. And we have been collecting evidence.
Okay.
And here's where the thing comes. Ultimately, we want to work with the Trinidad and Tobago Police Service and the Director of Public Prosecution to be able to charge somebody, finally, under these acts. And the reason why we want to be able to do that is to establish a precedent where in court, even if the law itself doesn't define that by performing this surgery, this person presented as a vet, and it should be that surgical procedures, certainly in pet animals, should not be performed by anybody who's not a veterinarian. But there are people out there who are cutting dogs' ears, cutting the tails in Trinidad very commonly. And just by doing that, people assume they're a vet.
Yep.
And so you, even though you don't go out there and put Dr. X on your advertisement, or you don't say to anybody when they meet you, I'm Dr. Y, even though you didn't say that, because you're performing the surgery, you present as a veterinarian.
Correct.
So we need the law to support us on that, and we need to move forward on cases like that while we work on changing legislation, because legislation takes years to be approved. Every letter has to be approved and agreed and so on, and it takes a long time for that to happen. So we are asking people where they are concerned to submit evidence. One, of course, you can call the persons on the statement, and you can find the statement on social media, Facebook, Instagram, the Tobago Animal Hospital, the TTSPCA Tobago, and the Vet Vibe. You can call any of us and say, hey, this guy who's checking me, is he a vet? And when there was a really good idea to say, ask around and find out who the vets are. Get 2 or 3 names. Don't just get one name. Get 2 or 3 so you could call and verify among them and say, hey, this one, in case you don't see the statement, just remember that it's a good idea to find more names than one.
Correct.
Don't just go with the first name you're given. But you verify. And then if the person is not a vet and you've been going to somebody, that person has been performing surgery on your animals, that person says, I am Dr. Whatever when they come to your house, that person gives you a leaflet or pamphlet or card that identifies them as Dr. something or says veterinary medical practitioner, whatever that they say. Keep that evidence, please, because the more evidence we have, the more we'll be able to build a case against these persons to say that they are presenting as a veterinarian, and the law would be able to now set a precedent if we are able to go to court.
So again, viewers, if you are now hearing about this and you didn't see that statement as yet, of course the statement lists the qualified vets who are here in Tobago practicing, and you can go on the social media pages or just Google Tobago Animal Hospital. You can also check the Vet Vibe and of course the Trinidad and Tobago Society for the Prevention of Cruelty to Animals, the Tobago Shelter. On our screen we have that briefing that was shared, and of course you can just call as well and ask, find out. We all need to be responsible. It's just like if you are taking your child to a doctor, you would want to ensure that doctor is in fact a pediatrician or a general practitioner and qualified. So we have that responsibility to our pets and our farm animals as well. So Dr. Crooks, thank you so much for letting us be aware that this is taking place and what we can do, how we can become more proactive, pay attention. And we wish you and all the others great success in building the case and ensuring that our pets and animals are also protected.
Thank you very much.
Yes, and as we wrap up, viewers, yes, it's Friday. You know, I always remind us, for most of us in this part of the world, the weekend is beginning, or for some, it has begun. Remember, you are your brother's keeper. And PTSC and the Division of Transportation here in Tobago, remember, if you're taking that bus ride today, it's free. Maybe you'll just go because it's free. And I'm sorry to those who are viewing in Trinidad. Trinidad is not included in this. This is on the Tobago side of things. So viewers, have an awesome weekend, and we'll see each other again sometime soon.
A brand new dawning as the passion start to rise.